Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us this afternoon at One&Co. So I'm Leah, and just some friendly reminders before we begin today's panel discussion. Questions for our panelists are actually accepted throughout the webinar, so please just click on the Q&A button that should be located at the bottom of the screen, and then these questions will be addressed in the last 15 minutes of the session. So for those of you who are not familiar with One&Co, we are a co-working space that in Singapore established by the East Japan Railway Company. So, and one of our core aims is to act as a hub to connect the business ecosystems of Japan, Singapore, and Southeast Asia, which is also why we have our panelists here today who are Southeast software as a service companies active in Southeast Asia, but they have primarily Japanese roots. So at One&Co, we pride ourselves as a platform for innovative businesses, and we do believe in building a borderless and inclusive community to foster connection and collaboration. So co-learning actually forms the very key pillar at One&Co, which is also why community initiatives such as the panel discussion today aims to encourage greater knowledge sharing within and across industries, as well as across the international borders of Japan, Singapore, and Southeast Asia in our case. And I think for today's panel discussion, one reason why we're actually thinking of organizing this with our three panelists was amidst the major changes we see due to the global COVID-19 situation. I think many of us have had to take a step back to review, reflect, and replan our strategies. So you see work from home, and with the whole work from home experiment actually extending, companies have had to relook how they could remotely manage current employees, onboard new ones, how you ensure smooth and real-time communications and collaboration among team members. So we're now also a couple of months into the whole pandemic, and still we're observing new trends emerging with regards to cloud and the SCSS landscape. And that's why today we gathered our three panelists from different industries actually to share the role of service as a software and what it plays and the role it plays in defining digital transformation. So whether you're here to find out how you can draw up a digital transformation strategy for your company, whether you're here to find out how SaaS might actually be changing, we hope that everyone would take away something useful from today's panel discussion. So I will now pass the time on to One Wei from Team Spirit, to our moderator for today's session, to introduce our panelists. So One Wei, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me loud and clear? Is everything okay? Great, perfect. So let me start with the agenda today. Thank you so much for joining us today. And first, we will start with a brief introduction of speakers. Then we'll talk about the definition of digital transformation and actually how software as a service companies contribute to the ecosystem. We will then talk about the myth, and we will talk about, COVID-19's impact on the SaaS landscape. Last but not least, we will talk about the trends in the SaaS industry. And if you have any questions at the end, we'll be very happy to answer the questions. Okay, so let's begin. So to start off first, I'm your moderator for today. My name is One Wei. I'm also the marketing manager at Team Spirit. So perhaps we can start with an introduction of our panelists first. So would it be okay to start with an introduction of yourself? Maybe we can start with Go-san from Team Spirit first.
Okay, thank you, Wei. Hi, hi everyone. My name is Go Nakano, working for Team Spirit. Team Spirit is a company who provide B2B SaaS software service. Currently, most of the business is in Japan, and we have more than 1,300 customers and 250,000 users using in Japan. And we have a team in Singapore, but we haven't really started business yet, but soon our application should be available in Singapore. And so in terms of my, talk a little bit about my products, our products. So we provide the SaaS like time and attendance, leave management, or expense management. So those applications, every employee use in the company as a kind of for your business. And so I have, in terms of my roles, I have two roles actually. So one is as a managing director of a Team Spirit Singapore. So I'm responsible for Team Spirit Singapore organization operations. And also I'm a member of board of Team Spirit Incorporated Inc. So our parent company in Japan. So thank you very much for your opportunity today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Go-san. And Go-san is also happens to be my boss. Okay, just to get just have a context. So the next up we have Kaori-san. So would it be okay to introduce yourself, Kaori-san?
Sorry, yes, sure. So thank you for joining our session today. And thank you, One-Way. So I'm Kaori from Userbase. So let me explain about company first. So Userbase is a quite young 12-year-old company from Japan. And we only focus on software as a service, SaaS. And Userbase runs a global business of one of our services called Spida, which is like a data platform of all the business information, like such as company data, industry reports, M&A deals, news, and so on. And Spida has one of the best coverage of company data in the world. And I am particularly engaged in customer success. I'm the customer success in a customer success team, and I own more than 100 accounts of Japanese companies, and it's across the Southeast Asia, including like all the like Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, also Singapore. So that's what I do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaori-san, for the amazing introduction. It's really
Thank
exciting
you.
that you're doing. Okay, last but not least, can we have Presh to introduce yourself and what you're currently doing?
Sure. Thanks, One-Way. Hi, everyone. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Prash. I'm currently with Repro APAC. We basically a customer engagement marketing analytics platform. I take care of the pre-sales side of things as well as the marketing elements for Repro. Prior to being at Repro, I was at a HR chatbot firm within the artificial intelligence machine learning space, once again, B2B SaaS. It's really exciting to be on this panel. Thank you so much, One-Way, as well as Leah, for this opportunity. I hope the session is going to be very exciting. Hope to share some knowledge as well as learn a lot from all of the other panelists. Back to you, One-Way.
Thank you so much, Prash. Yeah, I'm really excited right now, and let's begin the panel discussion. So firstly, in this course on digital transformation, there's so many definitions. So would it be okay to start with a definition of what digital transformation is? Go-san, would you like to start?
Okay. Right. So I think digital transformation is quite broad term, I think. So I think first of all, I'd like to make a clear distinction between some digital related words. So maybe starting with digitization. So so digitization, I define that we change analog information to digital information. That's, for example, so like with our application, so we have an expense management application. So with that, so expenses, people just spend some maybe money, like maybe using taxi for business, and then you pay by yourself first, and then after that you claim the expense, for the reimbursement from the company, and then you receive the paper expense receipt, and then you take a photo of the receipt, and then our application automatically capture the amount and date, and then convert to the digital information. So that is one example of digitization. So second terminology is digitalization. So digitalization, which I define that, so kind of using digital assets to build the business process, to streamline your business process, to reduce your costs or reduce your time, to automate some of your business process. So that is a digitalization. So those digitalization together, maybe I could say kind of digital transition. So from the analog to digital world. The third is the digital transformation, which is our agenda today. But so this is a big term. So since we said this is a transformation, this should be a very big change, profound change happening in your business or company. So like, with the digital technology, you're creating new revenue stream, you acquire different type of customer, or you strengthen your competitiveness against your competitors. So that big change should happen with a digital technology or assets. So that is a digital transformation. But nowadays, so people actually, those are all combined. So even you change analog to digital, then you may say digital transformation. But basically, digital transformation should be a big, profound change in your business to advance your business against the competitors. So how SaaS can help? So the SaaS basically, so in our context, we basically contribute company for their digital transition. So with our application, unfortunately, you cannot actually, make the transformation happen immediately, but we definitely can help your digital transition. And also that, should help you change your company culture to more digital to make the transformation happen in the future. That's my kind of definition and how SaaS can help the company's transformation in the digital world.
Wow, thank you so much, Go-san, for your extensive, elaboration on this topic. Mm-hmm. So, Kaori-san, so we know that you have this extensive experience in research in your career. So, what's your take on this topic? What is digital transformation, and how do you think SaaS companies contribute to it?
Okay. Oh, first of all, thank you, Go-san, for a very clear, interesting explanation that helps me to explain the following very well, actually. So I have a background of marketing research. So I used to do the consumer research a lot. And so digital transformation, it's such a buzzword among Japanese business person lately, especially after post-corona. But what is digital transformation, and another keyword that everyone was talking about in the last 5-10 years was, in Japanese, it's koto shohi, and it's a customer experience. So we consume and we sell the customer experience instead of a product. And that was a big trend and everyone's concept, when they do business. And SaaS company are definitely leading the trend, because subscription business model is definitely sells customer experience, obviously. So the model never allows one spot sales or consumption, and also appreciate the long-term relationship with customers. And I believe that's the key insight of business person who are engaged in subscriptions. And to do the SaaS, digital activities are always necessary. So it's a good combination of the two trends of respecting the customer experience and transforming into digital. And also what's interesting is that legacy industries such as mobility or real estate, healthcare, they're trying to install the SaaS kind of business model as well. Kinto from Toyota is a good example. It's a mixture service of ride sharing, car sharing, rent-a-car, etc. And there are a lot of domestic SaaS startup also happening, and it's always related to some legacy industries such as healthcare or fashion or something. So I think lots of companies from legacy industries are also making decision to try the subscription business or digital transformation.
Thank you so much, Kaori-san, for your, I love your point on the subscription model, and also the emphasis on customer experience. I think that's, to me, is very Japanese, and I appreciate it. I appreciate that a lot. So, Crash, yes, what's your take on what is digital transformation, and how do you think SaaS companies contribute towards it?
Sure. So in my opinion, I feel digital transformation is about using the advanced technologies, taking the processes to the next level, automating some of the processes, eliminating rote functionalities, redundant work, making more use of technology to improve productivity are, I feel, different ways of digitally transforming your business. Based on what Kaori-san had mentioned in terms of the different industries, for example, be it healthcare or be it ride sharing, for example. Think about it a couple of years back when we used to flag taxis down. Long gone has that space where we have companies like Grab, Gojek, Uber, many others entering the space and transforming that space with the use of software. These companies are not even registered as transportation companies in that sense. They're merely software companies creating software, digitally transforming, disrupting that space, making it easy for people to get from one location to another, much unlike how things were before. So that's how I feel fast growing tech companies are using software, IT to their advantage to disrupt space. But speaking about industries and sectors in that sense, coming to SaaS companies per se, how I feel SaaS companies are making it a lot easier and seamless, unlike legacy, softwares or legacy systems or traditional deployments, which I feel require extensive system architectures, infrastructures, liaising with the client's ends to have many of these pieces developed. I feel a lot of these concerns over cybersecurity, encryption of data, location of servers in traditional platforms is fairly challenging, fairly cumbersome. The amount of period of time that these softwares take to deploy a solution is simply very time consuming. Unlike most SaaS-based solutions that have cloud that use cloud-based services like AWS, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, this seems to be like the next space. Given where all of us are based in terms of Singapore, even the government is stepping up and promoting the use of the GCCI, the government commercial cloud infrastructure, promoting companies to actually get to cloud. So that is my take on digital transformation and how I feel SaaS companies are sort of contributing to it.
Wow, thanks so much for the the mention about government initiative and government involvement in the ecosystem. So just now also, Prash, you mentioned something very interesting about legacy system. So let's go on to the next question of what is one of the biggest reasons that a company might decide to build a SaaS solution over a legacy system. Maybe Kaoli-san, you would like to start first?
Okay. So I think it's related to the previous comment from me. I think one of the benefit, let's think about a benefit from like business side. So one of the benefit for us, like for business people, is like that the product they're gonna produce don't have to be completely perfectly developed when they launch it. So so it's kind of like, I'm not sure, but it's kind of like easy and less barrier to start. And obviously everyone aims for like as high as possible in the beginning to have a successful business, but like SaaS defines the product development is a consistent improvement with customers' feedback. So for example, like Google had a beta version of Gmail for 5 years, and like all the users could see it, like it was like a beta version, and they removed it after 5 years of the development. So in SaaS, like existing clients' feedback or their behavior data, log data is very, very important rather than like opening new accounts, because the SaaS business is based on the annual recurring revenue, which is like constantly like coming in from existing clients like every month or every year. So it's a major source of companies' revenue. And also, like, for example, Mark Benioff, from the founder of Salesforce, saying like nothing is more important to Salesforce than customer success. So like getting the customer's feedback or like reflecting customers' feedback is really, really important key of improvement of the company or the business. So that's quite interesting, how to build or grow the business, like rather than like just launching a very, very great product in the beginning. And like, yeah.
Yeah, I really like your point on like, customer feedback and how SaaS companies constantly pivot and improve their products and offerings. Thank you so much, Kaoli-san. So, Prash, would you like to continue your point about, what is one of the biggest reasons that a company might decide to build a SaaS solution over a legacy system?
Sure thing, One Way. So I shared before, some of the various reasons from low barriers to entry from Kaori-san, and many of these digitally transformative reasons. I've got a fairly unique or sort of interesting take on this particular question, more from a finance side of things in that sense. Many of you would have heard a saying that goes along the lines of, you can shear a sheep 100 times, but you can skin it only once. So that's kind of the subscription model, if you think about it, because you don't pay any hefty setup fees at the start, but you simply charge like a monthly recurring amount or a subscription amount for using the services. So another example of this, for example, is like Netflix. Many of us watch Netflix over here. We pay a monthly subscription. We watch all the TV shows, all the movies, all the dramas that we like in one place. And gone were the days when we would go to a shop, rent a DVD, or rent a movie and come back to watch it. Or even platforms like Apple TV, for example, or Apple Movies, where they charge you a fixed amount for just renting or buying that particular movie. Many of us are reluctant to do that because we would watch that movie once, twice, but that sort of a business model is not scalable in that sense. Many of us would prefer to go to a Netflix or an Amazon Prime to get onto that subscription model. So that's one of the reasons why I feel SaaS is kind of up and coming and is very hot in that sense. And aside from this interesting take from a finance side, I shared earlier about the deployments and from an IT perspective, it is very easy to scale as an organization. For legacy softwares and platforms, it is very challenging to make customized features and address the challenges of your clients in that sense, because it is a very robust, large platform / software in that sense. But with SaaS, you can easily deploy the solution onto a separate server, a separate virtual private cloud, and just make changes to that bit. So these are some of the reasons why I feel SaaS is the future in that sense. It is up and coming, and as our topic in that sense, it is where the future lies in that sense. Many companies are entering the B2B SaaS space, be it with cloud or be it without cloud solutions. That would be my take, one way.
Oh, thank you so much, Precious. Really such a fast-moving and exciting field. Okay, next on to go for Go-san's perspective, we all know that like Carly-san mentioned just now, Salesforce is really big on customer success, and Team Spirit being Salesforce partner since 2010, we are also very big on customer success, and that's why we are a SaaS company. So what's your take on this? What is one of the biggest reasons that a company might decide to build a SaaS solution over a legacy system?
I see. Yeah, so I pretty much echo what Kaori-san mentioned in terms of this the question. Yeah, I think I think the benefit of doing SaaS is we can start from very small MVP, so minimum viable products, and then with the customer feedback, gradually improve the service or products. That is one big benefit of doing the SaaS business. I think maybe yeah, another perspective on this is, I think the product is by nature on internet, so which means everyone in the world can access to the service or product. So that is a big difference between SaaS and the legacy system. So yeah, I think especially the people who are in Singapore, I think Singapore, people speak English, and you are very much diverse culture, and very, very different from Japan. Japan, even if our product is on the internet, everyone can access to our product. Language is a big barrier for us. The Japanese basically speak Japanese, and the culture is a bit domestic, really domestic. But I think still the product is can be accessed from anywhere. So that is the big benefit doing the SaaS business, and we will try to exploit that benefit in the future business. So that that is our aim. So that is kind of my question for this.
Thank you so much, Go-san.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think all three panelists, we all agree that SaaS is a very fast-moving industry. It's borderless. It can be accessed by anyone with a mobile phone and internet, basically. So what is one of the key trends you can expect to see in the SaaS industry in the next 3 years? Maybe Kaori-san, you'd like to go first?
Okay. So as I mentioned in the first question, one of the trends is like the traditional industries are like entering the SaaS industry as well, like such as Toyota of Kinto and things like that. And like whether it's traditional or not, whether it's like digital or analog or not, like all the SaaS companies have to care about from now on is security and safety, because like we're gonna aim for the very much of data analytics and utilization, like to improve our product. As I said, improving the product, developing the product by customer feedbacks is really, really important for our companies or our service. But still, for example, like today TikTok got merged by Oracle, so there are lots of like data security issues or arguments in all over the world. Europe just decided to make the regulation called GDPR, things like that. I mean, it's still in the industry of maybe social media or consumer service, but it's gonna come to SaaS or other all the kinds of like digital service or internet service as well. So like for the long term, like we should have a good balancing out between like security and data utilization. So that's like a very, it might be like a very big discussion in the industry.
Well, I see you have been very updated with the news about Oracle and
Oh yeah, so what a day.
Okay, so Fresh, what is the one key trend you can expect to see in the SaaS industry in the next 3 years, given that you're so excited?
Yeah. Likewise, that Kari-san had mentioned about data security and making sure the data is being utilized in the right way and it's watertight. One of the other things I feel within the SaaS space, as you rightly pointed out, one way, it is an up and coming space within the next 3 years. Competition is very steep within the SaaS space, regardless of vertical. We have got a lot of players within HR, finance, or even fintech. Almost every sector has a company that is coming up with a SaaS-based solution. So I feel to stand out, some SaaS companies should be doing something different, something unique such that they can have that edge. And for me, I feel that one area that could make or break SaaS firms for the longevity, I feel, is customer success, where service is at the core. The motto being building relationships to last. A lot of statistics online have showed that 89% of customers start buying from a competitor following just a single bad experience from a brand. The same study has showed that 86% of consumers are willing to pay up to 25% more for a better customer experience. Just like how Kari-san had mentioned at the start of this session, where customer experience should be at the core. So even if you need to charge extra to create and execute a sort of a customer success plan or a strategy to keep that customer happy, I would really say do that in that sense. It will surely pay off, as loyalty is what will keep the customers in a SaaS-based company. Retention is one of the key parameters and one of the key metrics that every SaaS companies take a look at, meaning that if customer churn is high, a lot of customers are not willing to stick to that company, then the business future may be a tad bit rocky in that sense. Many SaaS-based companies have different tiers. You have a standard light tier, a pro tier, sort of a custom tier for your enterprise clients so that they can manage resources effectively. Generally speaking, the base tiers are the ones that make a little bit of income or a bit of revenue, but the organization does not want to spend too much time with the company by making sure they succeed. So depending on the journey at which these companies are, I feel they need to prioritize these different tiers, making sure that level of service, that level of customer success is delivered to their clients, so that in the future, in the long run, it will pay off for SaaS-based companies. So one key trend, to sort of summarize one way I feel, would be customer success, would be customer service. Taking that service a notch higher, I feel would really make or break that difference in terms of trends, for the next 3 years.
Thank you so much, Presh. I really love your point on, customer retention, loyalty, and then how it's nicely linked to actually the previous point that our panelists have mentioned, business model. So, okay, thank you so much. And Go-san, what do you think is the one key trend you can expect to see in the SaaS industry in the next 3 years?
Okay, so I think I want to make a comment on this from the two perspectives. One is in a company. So now, lots of SaaS product, coming to the market. And, if you look at your company and even my company, people try to find some good solution as a, SaaS. And then we try to start using those SaaS a lot. Actually, I don't know how many SaaS applications we're using in the company. So that actually will come to the point that maybe company, we want to unify some of the solution, and maybe because of security reason or maybe cost perspective. I think too many different services in a company may cause the problem. So that may actually, at some point, maybe company may start unifying those some of the service into the big service or something like this. And also from the market perspective, now the SaaS industry or market is growing. So everybody coming into the SaaS, the market. This also will change at the point that the market is maybe big enough and legacy is going down as everyone start doing the SaaS. At some point, more competitiveness, competition is much harsh, and then so now in the kind of process of a divergence of the SaaS business, now we're going to the convergence, the stage. And then maybe in the 3 years' time, we will be more clear about who are successful, who are not successful that time. So that could be a next 3 or 5 years trend, I think.
Well, thank you so much for the insight. Yeah, I think it's probably really true that maybe the SaaS industry will get more and more saturated as time passes by. Okay, great. So we actually do have time for one more question, maybe one panel, or maybe we can each give a really quick answer to this. How do you think COVID-19 has changed the SaaS landscape? So would Presh like to go first?
Yeah, definitely. So I feel COVID-19 has really taken a toll on many businesses, not just the SaaS space in that sense. We are all trying to learn how to, take care of businesses in a remote fashion, or at the same time, provide the businesses by working remotely, because some of the hardest hit industries like tourism, hospitality have taken a very big hit with this global pandemic. So coming to the SaaS-based perspective, and one of the points that I last left off from in terms of customer service or customer engagement, it has really taken a toll on that. The way you start servicing clients, from a more online virtual platform in that sense, I feel has really taken a toll. Secondly, as Gozan had mentioned as well, the use of SaaS platforms has increased tremendously because of travel taking a hit, people not being able to travel to deploy some of these legacy platforms or solutions. I feel in that sense, it is a very up and coming space for SaaS, because the more easier it is to deploy your solution, the less cumbersome it is, the more I feel the business can grow. And there are many solutions out there that are actually helping the industries. For example, at Repro, given our customer engagement and our marketing analytics platform, we are really helping the industries that are hard hit, for example, hospitality and tourism, by making sure that they're able to analyze the market. And when things go back to the normal in that sense, so as things tend back to the new normal, they would be able to analyze, reach out to the customers at the right time with the right message, and thereby get back on track by increasing the conversions and revenues. So that's from my side how I feel businesses are sort of changing with this sort of a global pandemic that has taken a toll on many industries and businesses.
Thanks. I like your point on the travel. And great plug, Repro. Okay, how about Carly-san? How do you think that COVID-19 has, changed the SaaS landscape?
Okay, so the SaaS landscape as well as all the other industries, I think we are on a diet. So body shaping, and we need to be a must-have. So if like, how about you? Are you like protein, or are you sugar? Are you rice, like carbs? It's things like that. So I'm also in a customer success, so I'm the one like receiving all the news from clients if they want to like still continue the subscription, or if they want to leave the service. And it's so sad to see anyone leaving. And I really like recently realized that we should be the must-have business, because like none of the companies, none of the like people want to subscribe anything like nice to have, like good to have anymore. So we should be really necessary.
Thank you. Thank
you. It's quite simple, but I think that's it.
My preference to dieting. Great.
Yeah.
Gozan, how do you think the COVID-19 has changed the SaaS landscape?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. I think because of the COVID, basically, everyone working from home, no one believed that everyone can work from home, but with the COVID, we proved that we can work from home. And that was a good thing, but at the same time, we found that we have lots of manual processes in the company. And as a Japanese company, everyone can imagine easily that our stamp chop culture, so we need to get the chop from the manager or the directors or CEO, to process the order or process the contract, everything. So yeah, but it's not just I think a Japanese company. I think other even Singapore or other the country, they have the similar issues. So now the people realize that digital transformation or digital transition is critical to survive in this situation. So I think the COVID definitely helped to accelerate our need of the change to the digital. If there's any kind of manual old-fashioned process. So I think the COVID is not a good thing for everyone, but then from a digital transformation perspective, that actually helped to accelerate for us to move faster toward the digital. Yeah.
Well, okay, thank you so much everyone for the explanation. And yeah, it is really true that probably the new normal, we are really in the new normal now. Probably this is something that we can all agree with. And also, okay, let me provide a quick summary of what has transpired so far. So for everyone watching this panel, Leah has kindly provided point by point, very brief and succinct snippets in the chat channel, so you can just read there. I'm gonna just briefly summarize. So in the panel, we have talked about a lot of angles, like a lot of perspective from the government perspective, from finance perspective, from also from the business model perspective of this topic of SaaS industry and also digital transformation. So I guess when we first started, when Leah and myself, we first wanted to do this seminar, it's because we really feel that the world is changing. So this new normal is inevitable that SaaS products will be part of this new normal, and things are moving to cloud, and cloud computing is getting more and more important. And also legacy system, we have also talked about the differences between cloud and legacy. And also we also have talked about the trends, and trends are really varying. It's very clear that the SaaS industry is very fast moving and very exciting to be part of. And of course, like Go-san mentioned in the last comment, yeah, about the chop thing, as everyone know about DocuSign in COVID, after COVID-19 hit, DocuSign usage actually shot up exponentially. So great, thank you so much for the panelists for discussion so far. Okay, now we would like to move on to Q&A session. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask also in the question and answer. We'll just take one question from Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer actually asked to Prash, do you think software will really replace legacy software? What are your views on enterprise security? Okay, why don't we take the question on what are your views on enterprise security, cyber security? Because just now you mentioned something about security. Would like to elaborate about it?
Yep, definitely one way. So I feel enterprise cybersecurity would really depend on the nature of the business. For example, some verticals, legacy softwares will still remain for the foreseeable future until even better technology comes out. Like for example, in Singapore, the government uses SingPass for all sort of authorizations. The amount of sensitive information and personally identifiable data is extremely sensitive. So they would not be very comfortable moving to a SaaS-based solution, or they would have a lot of concerns about enterprise cybersecurity. One other example would be taxation. Any companies or any country's tax authority, for that matter, would be fairly apprehensive and skeptical to move to the future. Likewise for finance or fintech companies, like traditional banks, where a lot of sensitive information is shared. But on the other hand, for some other verticals like HR or marketing, there is a very dominant take over in that sense, or a dominant entrant by SaaS-based companies. For example, if you take applicant tracking systems, legacy softwares that are within the HR space, they are being replaced more and more with upcoming technologies, be it chatbots, be it video interviews, be it psychometric assessments within the HR space. Likewise for marketing as well, there are many marketing automation tools that have actually come up that analyze your audience, analyze your user journey, and provide solutions. So many of these different industries, it would, in the end of the day, I feel, depend on the industry. At the same time, depend on the SaaS company per se. When we're speaking about enterprise cybersecurity, there are many things that SaaS companies can do, in order to make sure they're up to par from the data utilization, as Kaori-san brought up earlier about GDPR, which is, very up and coming. In Singapore, we have PDPA, which is the equivalent of GDPR, which is again being thoroughly enforced within all the SaaS-based industries. So I feel SaaS-based companies, if they do want to enter that space, they want to be foolproof in that sense, they could take on certifications like the SOC2, Systems and Organization Control Certification, to ensure that these companies have processes, systems, and controls in place in the event they need to fight fire, in the event there is a data breach, there is a data leak or something like that. So as long as they're watertight in their certifications, another example could be ISO, which is the International Organization for Standardization. You basically have standardized processes for handling data, for handling sensitive information, the way the data is stored in terms of encryption, protocols, necessary safety measures, even something as simple as password management. So many of these things I feel can be, ways in which SaaS-based companies could take up their notch in terms of cybersecurity and work with large organizations or enterprises in that sense. So I don't think software will really replace legacy systems. There could be some verticals in which legacy systems will still be prominent until more advanced technology comes out. But at the same time, for SaaS companies, these could be the various ways in which they could beef up their cybersecurity, they could beef up their security, be a bit more trusted. Enterprise clients can feel a bit more safe working with these SaaS-based companies. That's kind of my take one way.
Thank you so much, Prash. Wow, that's really, really extensive explanation. Thank you so much. So just know that your point on certification linked directly to our second question, also from Jennifer. Okay, let me read the question. She says, I read from LinkedIn that cloud computing is the #2 sought after skill in 2020. How do you think I can build a career in cloud computing, like join a SaaS company without knowing any technical skills? Okay, maybe Kaori-san, you would like to go first?
Yeah, okay. I feel you, Jennifer. I'm the same. I'm in SaaS industry, but I don't have any technical knowledge. And also I graduated from economics faculty in Japanese university. So I think there is like a lot still that you can contribute to the industry. Like for example, like SaaS companies has a lot of important jobs like that's not related like to tech, like technology. And I think the value hopefully I'm adding here is like being very close to customers, because I'm in a customer success, and involve the engineers into that feedback or like their customer needs and success. And so because like engineer team, no offense, but it's quite difficult to like keep the very close distance to customers because they're engaged in the product development. So like you can be a bridge person if you're in customer success or sales, and that the two departments are all like very important to generate the recurring revenue. So that's my take.
Thank you so much, Kaori-san. How about Go-san? What tips would you give to Jennifer?
Okay, so I think, yeah, I think one of the most critical or interesting role in the SaaS company is the product manager. So the product management. And so what product manager will do is basically the product manager will define what is a customer problem and how we can resolve the problem using the technology. So that is a role. So of course, it's good to have a technical background, technical knowledge for the product manager, but I attended one of the product management festival event last year in Singapore. I met a female PM product managers. The one, the PM's background is English teacher. Yeah, she was English teacher, but she actually wanted to do the product management. I think it was a B2C product, but yeah, it's quite interesting background she had. The other female, also female, the PM, her background was a corporate lawyer. So, but she said corporate lawyer is not that sexy, but PM is very sexy, so she moved to the product manager. I think these are quite interesting move for them, and then both doesn't have any technical background, but very successful in the PM. So, and as I said, the PM is one of the critical roles for the SaaS company, and then even if you don't have any technical background, if you have a if you can come up with any kind of a problem you want to solve, and then, you can work with the engineers and QAs, those technical team very well, and definitely, you can contribute to be part of the SaaS company, SaaS team.
Wow,
yeah.
Great. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
both. How about Presh? Presh, yourself, you come from a very, diverse background. You know so many things. You talk about finance, you talk about AI, you know so much about tech. So what is the one tip you give to a non-technical person like Jennifer?
I think Jennifer has raised a very valid question in that sense. A lot of up and coming skills nowadays, cloud computing, programming is definitely up there in that sense. But in terms of the concern about joining a SaaS company without any technical skill, for starters, I would really feel it depends on the role, of course, in that sense. If it is going to be a developer software side of roles, I guess that's a fundamental skill that you ought to have in that sense. But I reckon the question is, of course, more from a business background perspective, like how Risan had mentioned. I myself graduated with a banking and finance degree not too long ago. And my first adventure was with a SaaS company. And of course, today I'm with Repro, also a SaaS-based company. So my only advice in that sense would actually be to do enough research about the company, understand the SaaS-based model, the subscription model. There are many variations to the SaaS-based model. There is the cross-sell, upsell approach where you get a client in, make sure you're providing them with top-notch level of service and other products and services that you could cross-sell, upsell them into and make the revenue. There are other models where it's an initial setup fee where they make the most of the money, and then it is more of a maintenance fees after that in that sense, which is not much. So my suggestion and advice would be to understand the business model, understand how the revenue is coming in, what are the costs like, and of course, focus on the software that the company is offering. What are the company's unique selling points? What is that software that they're actually providing? Is that software scalable? And at the same time, do some homework about the competitors within that industry or within that space, be it HR, be it marketing, be it finance or fintech. Get to know the market, get to know the other players in the market. How is this company, or how is the company that you're intending to join going to be different to that of others? And of course, where you can add value to that. So even without any technical skills, I feel it would be able to make that career, get into that SaaS-based space, but at the same time, beefing up learning on those technicalities as you join in the organization, I think would be fairly key as well. So that would be my kind of 2 cents or my kind of advice one way. And I hope that helps, Jennifer.
Oh, Presh, I just want to ask a question, just one quick question about your answer just now. So is it necessary that this person must be detail oriented?
I would definitely think a lot of the soft skills that any company in fact is looking at these days is, of course, communication, detail oriented, being organized. I think as Kaori-san mentioned, many of the roles in SaaS-based companies that are non-tech related, be it marketing, be it customer success, be it data analysis, be it customer relationship, any of these would require many of these soft skills of communication, making sure that you're able to work well with internal and external stakeholders. So definitely second that, point one way in terms of having the prerequisite or, the sort of mandatory soft skills in that sense, aside from the hard skills or the technical skills when entering a SaaS-based, career industry or company for that matter.
Thank you so much, Presh. Okay, before we end this session, I would like to ask, on a parting note, do you have anything else to add before we close? Maybe Go-san, you would like to go first? Go-san, you're on mute.
I did it again, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I think the SaaS, software as a service and digital transformation are the kind of trends at the moment, but I think it's not just a short-term trend. I think this could be a long-term trend for the, most of the business. And I think it's good to explore, if you're looking for a new job, it's good to explore, to get some opportunity to learn about the SaaS or digital transformation. And if you're working in the company, and then I think it's good to explore how you can adopt digital transformation or digital transition in your company. Maybe you can start from small things, and that is, I think the experiment is quite important. So, and then, try again. The making a failure is not a bad thing. I think, try again and again. That mindset also quite important.
But thank you so much, Go-san. Personally, I think try again is very Japanese as well.
Yeah, that's right. Continuous improvement, continuous making a failure, continuous improvement.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Our internalize. Okay, how about Carolina? What do you think about this? On a parting note, do you have anything else to add?
Okay, so as Go-san mentioned, this is upcoming trend, but trend is defined as a one spot phenomena that everyone is talking about, but it shouldn't be a normal trend. Like this, the digital transformation as SaaS service is a long-term future of a business. So it shouldn't be ending as a trend, but we should respect the business model and try to continuously grow up, I think. And to grow up something, if on any attendance here, audience here is interested in starting a SaaS company or a SaaS business, something I did personally was learning the philosophy of the business model. It's a bit abstract, but I think it's really important because SaaS industry was upcoming, or at least somewhat successful so far. Is the business model is such a game changer. Their recurring model is really different from any other business models. That's why people very attracted or even enter the business. So to know that is really important, and there are so many books, so many online sources that you can refer to. So maybe start from it, and you're gonna have the concept. You're gonna capture the concept of the beauty of SaaS model. And yeah, okay, maybe that's my ending note.
Thank you so much, Carolina. How about Presh? On a parting note, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah. From me on my side, in terms of closing remarks in that sense, or something that I'd like to leave all the attendees with, without really coming across as self-promoting in that sense, would be that a lot of businesses are struggling in that sense with the new normal in terms of marketing activities, in terms of sales. Many businesses have taken a hit. So my only parting note would be that if any of you guys are struggling with marketing in terms of be it identifying your digital marketing needs, your content marketing, or converting your leads or getting your leads, do feel free to reach out. We'll be more than happy for our marketing experts, our marketing consultants, to have a non-obligatory chat with you guys to identify some of your challenges and propose solutions. And I'm not just talking about our solution in that sense. We come across as marketing consultants and try to provide value in every conversation that we have with the client. So in case any one of the attendees listening in here does have a bit of difficulty in terms of generating leads, converting them, or increasing your conversions for that matter, do feel free to reach out. We'll be more than happy to help. And of course, we're a SaaS-based company with Japanese roots. So definitely we'll be more than happy to share that expertise that we have across various industries and verticals. So that would be my parting remarks in that sense. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Presh. Okay, so before I end this panelist session and pass the mic back to Leah, I would also like to have a parting note myself. So two things I've learned and I'm very thankful for through this seminar, through this webinar, is that firstly, a growth mindset is really important for the SaaS industry because things are changing so fast. We have to learn, and even if we don't know anything about the situation or changing consumer needs, we really need to adapt to it. And the second thing I really liked about, which every panelist actually mentioned, is that, SaaS business model is really important, and the understanding of it, how digitalization changes business model, and how business models is part of business digital transformation. I think these are my two main takeaways, and I love those points. So with that, we close our panel, and back to you, Leah.
Thank you. Thank you to our three panelists as well for your insights into the SaaS landscape and for everybody who's joining us this afternoon. So maybe just a very quick sum up, I think some of what our panelists' main points that we have covered today. So we have seen that SaaS is, I guess, more deployable than a legacy system in that sense, especially with the high internet penetration in Singapore and across Southeast Asia. And particularly, I think we see this with COVID-19 happening, people can't travel, and this SaaS available on the internet, that is something that's much more accessible. And so like what Kauri said, the business model of SaaS itself is a real game changer in recent years. And I think one more point is that with the global pandemic, we see increased usage of SaaS. So multiple services being used. And at some point, I think Go-Sang was the one who mentioned this, companies are going to start unifying multiple services into one platform to actually improve efficiency. And we do see this already happening, and also to reduce potential problems from happening. And I think last but not least, I think all the panelists have agreed that customer success and engagement should be at the core, and that building relationships to last is the key to longevity. And that's actually what One&Co here believes as well, that customer engagement is what matters at the end of the game. So I think that's all. We'll close the session here today. And should anybody have further questions for our panelists, an email will actually follow after this session closes, and we will direct you to the relevant party to contact. And alternatively, you can also drop us an email at hello@oneandco.sg for more information. So tune in more to One&Co as well. We are actually having a few more webinars and sessions coming up in the next few months. So I think from the One&Co team, we wish everybody a pleasant rest of the day ahead. And thank you for joining us this afternoon.